That excuse you keep repeating may be the reason nothing is changing. Not because you're not capable, not because you don't want more, but because that one thought has quietly become your stopping point. Last time, we talked about how excuses can sound like wisdom, but today, we're going deeper. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Stop assuming it's just a phase. Some patterns don't pass with time. They stay because they are repeated quietly over and over again. That reasonable thought you keep returning to has held more power over your life than you realize. Not because it's loud, but because it's consistent. Pay attention to what keeps coming back. Repetition is not random. It is revealing something you've learned to accept. You've said it before, and here you are again, standing in the same place with the same explanation. Look closely for a moment. How long has that been your explanation? What keeps playing in your mind is not just a thought. It begins to shape decisions, timing, and direction. Be careful what is called caution. Sometimes, hesitation hides behind it quietly. It doesn't always take more time. Sometimes, it takes a decision that has been delayed. That same thought may have become familiar, almost like a quiet pause that keeps returning. Don't overlook the cost of staying in the same place. Time doesn't just pass. It builds patterns. Explanation can continue, while nothing changes. What feels small in the moment often repeats itself over time, until it becomes part of your life. There may already be something clear in front of you, something that has been set aside more than once. Not now can quietly become not yet again and again. Understanding something clearly does not always lead to movement. Sometimes it is simply postponed. Familiar doesn't always mean right. Some things feel normal only because they've been repeated long enough. It's possible to adjust to delay until it no longer feels like delay at all. What feels like protection may also be limiting movement. Look closely and notice where it has been placing you. Same thought, same pause, same place. A pattern can be seen clearly and still remain unchanged. Awareness by itself does not move anything. It only shows what is there, but what is seen still needs a response. Seeing something clearly does not mean it will change. It simply means it has been revealed. Some explanations may no longer fit where you are now, but they are still being used, as if nothing has changed. The same reason, repeated often enough, can begin to feel valid, even when it is no longer helping. There may already be a decision forming beneath the surface, something you've thought through more than once, but it hasn't yet shown up in what you do. Delay can happen quietly and still feel justified. Be careful. Justification can feel like peace. It can settle urgency and make stillness feel acceptable. Not everything that feels calm is leading forward. Some things feel calm because nothing is being challenged. It is possible to feel settled while nothing is actually moving. Intention can feel strong. Plans can feel clear. But until something shifts in action, nothing changes. There are thoughts that return again and again. You revisit them, you turn them over, but they stop just before becoming action. Thought, pause, delay, and over time, that quiet cycle becomes familiar. What is postponed repeatedly may feel small in the moment, but over time, it begins to shape direction. Patterns don't announce themselves loudly. They form gradually through what is allowed to repeat. This moment may not be new. If you look closely, you may recognize it. The same pause, the same reasoning, returning again, and each time it returns, it doesn't feel wrong. It feels reasonable, and that's exactly how it stays. What is agreed with often stays longer than expected. Be careful what continues to be accepted. There is a difference between waiting and avoiding. The two can look similar, but they lead in very different directions. Look closely. The difference is there. More confirmation may not be needed at this point. What may be needed is movement. The longer something sits without action, the more natural it begins to feel, until delay no longer feels like delay. And comfort can hold something in place quietly, without resistance, without urgency, without change. Familiar is not always direction. A pattern can become something learned, something repeated so often it no longer feels like a choice. Nothing may appear to be holding it in place, but something is, even if it is not obvious at first. And until that shifts, not suddenly, but intentionally, everything else remains the same. Look closely. This may be happening without you realizing it. Pay attention to what keeps repeating, because what repeats eventually shapes direction. But there's something deeper than this. These patterns don't just delay movement, they begin to limit what becomes possible. We'll look at that next. I'm your host, Abigail, and this is Wisdom Wednesday.